everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Two, where it's our show where we review things in the world of television. Today we're giving our quick impressions on Always Sunny in Philadelphia, a show that one of my best friends in the world, and also my usual co-host on ActionX and the Collection Compass, It's Just George here. He has always mentioned this show. It's like one of the last shows he has ever just casually mentioned to me, and like I should watch it someday because I don't know. It's just one of his many recommendations he has given me over the span of our friendship. And recently I decided, you know what? I need a new comedy. I need a new sitcom in my life. So I said, what the hell? It's 15 seasons. They're all pretty short seasons, mind you. They're all half-hour episodes. Not that long of a season. So I'm like, you know what? This will be a fun few months. I feel a little bit disgusted after watching what I just watched. It is, for me, this is the Joker of television, where, and if you don't know what I mean Joker from 2019. That's what I mean. Where it's kind of hard to give, for me, it's kind of hard to review it or talk about it in a sense, because if I say I like it, does that mean I'm a bad person because of the comedy of this show, which I described it as this. Close Enough is regular show was going a little bit too far for what is acceptable on kids on television. Close Enough is the teenage version of it. Seinfeld was the young adult version of it, where like they were borderline. A lot of things were like really, my God, I don't even believe these people are human beings. Watching this show was, by the time I reached the 5th season, maybe a little earlier than that, I was just, these people do not deserve any happy ending. They are some of the worst people I've ever seen on television. I've seen a lot of television. I've seen hundreds and not even thousands of hours of television, and this is by far, these are the worst human beings on the planet. Like, I wouldn't even step foot in their state anymore if I fear running into them in the real day, if they were real people. But I was so flabbergasted, because it was a similar approach I went into this with The Big Bang Theory, where I was always questioning, how did this show reach this many seasons? It's currently in its 15th season. It has got renewed for 18 seasons. So regardless of how it is, there's still 3 more years to this adventure. Will there be more after that? I God forsake no, because it's just every season it just goes down the disgusting factor to a new level, and it makes me feel disgusted watching when it's. Now here's the thing. This is not a bad thing about the show's quality. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, as the content in the show, I'm just flabbergasted by the fact that these are some of the most horrible, most selfish people on the face of TV. Like, it is insurmountable to say that. Like, that is so. I'm not trying to say it's like a bad thing. I'm just trying to process what the hell did I just watch for all those seasons. It just, I don't get it. I really don't. It just, my God, this is Seinfeld times 10, where imagine my own spoiler for the Seinfeld finale. The Seinfeld finale was the culmination of the past 9 years of the show, where literally everything came back to bite them in the ass. It was like karma comes just due. This show, you kind of get that almost every few episodes, where like we're reminded of the constant torture that they've sprung upon the people of their city. It's like everyone they come into contact with their lives are negatively affected by them and their presence. They just create an aura of like, just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, they have no souls. It's hard to feel emotional or resonance with them when they're just pieces of shit. It's just so hard. It really is. And you know, when anything good happens to them, for me, I'm like, they don't deserve this at all. They really don't. And when they question, why don't I get this? Why don't I get that? Look at yourself and realize, but they even when someone tells them, you're all pieces of crap, they don't care. And that's the thing that I found mildly amusing the fact that they just are oblivious. Like they understand what they're doing. I think they know what they're doing deep down is, by the way, you're going to see me drink a lot of tea in this episode because I am just, my God. Moving on. So, and just like a first impression sense, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I will say it will leave you with a sense of disgust. Not because the show is bad, but what you're about to watch, the content is very much so something that you're gonna feel, if you have a soul as well, emotionally bothered by, where that these people could potentially exist in our world. And here's the thing. Here's the killer about this thing. There is 77.5 billion people plus on this planet. I am very much certain there's at least a small population that are just exactly like these people, where they don't do anything like murder or anything. I mean, sometimes they borderline do it, but they just do horrendous actions against other people and just have no real sympathy for their end result. They just walk away, act like it didn't happen, or maybe it did happen, just like, well, it happened. I did what I had to do, and just, I have to live with it. And, it's just, my God, it's, oh God. And the fact, I think the show started when they're around my age. So I got a little scared because, like, I better not be doing any of this stuff when I turn that age next year. So I'm like, I'm hopeful that doesn't happen, but we'll see how that goes for me down the road. But anyway, back onto the show itself. There is no, another thing you should know about is that there's no story. Like some sitcoms nowadays, they kind of have like a storyline, like a thread. They have a couple of double-parter episodes, but not really that much. And they do kind of do these season-long, like, story running gags. It's not really a storyline. It's more like, here's a thing, a trope that we're going to, like, repeat many times during this season, and then we'll casually just throw it away in the next season. Like, that's kind of how it works. Because the thing is, it's a comedy, so, like, you kind of have to keep the ball going. You really can't. Like, it's not impossible. Big Bang Theory proved you could have a very well-written show with a bunch of great jokes, with a good story. It is possible. This show is just, there's no purpose to it. Like, there is no story. It's like you're subjected to watch the lives of these horrible human beings that somehow get lucky a lot of times. And I want there to be the episode where their luck just runs out, where I wish that is the finale. Whenever the finale does come, whether that is in 3 years, maybe even longer than that, I want the final episode to be they're just dudes. Like, not just everyone coming back to bite them in the ass, but I just want them all to just lose everything, be homeless. Like, it's Miles spoiler for South Park on the Paramount Plus special, how Cartman ended his life, not his life, but like ended in the future timeline where he just becomes homeless and a drunk because he just refused to grow up. That's kind of how I want them to have their end of their story. That's perfect, because like they imbue garbage. And I never say that about another TV show character. I never have. They're just garbage. Like, maybe Mac is like probably, I could maybe give him a pass. If I have to pick one of them to hang out with, I'd probably be Mac. He's probably the only, probably the only one that could probably pass in like today's society of like, he can borderline certain things. I'm not saying he's perfect. But I am saying that he's not as worth, like, if I have to rank between all of them, he's number 5. I might as well just get to the characters by this point, because there's just a variety of them. So the show originally begins with just the core 4 young adults. So you have Dennis and Dee, brothers and sisters, and Mac and Charlie, where they've all been best friends growing up. And unlike most friendships where you can still be friends, like, I'm still best friends with some of my childhood buddies as well. But we all grew. We all evolved the friendship to now where it currently is. It feels like, for me, kind of a bit of times, like they still feel like they're children, where they're entitled to certain things. And then, yeah, they're aware they're adults. They're aware there's a lot of things that they have to be responsible for. But there comes points where, like, they just do not care at all. I feel like the first season's dynamic between these 4 is very much kind of tame, where like they're bad people. They're like not the most liked human beings to anyone. But then when it comes to just when we get into season 2 on, when you add in Danny DeVito's character, which I'll get to more about him later, that's kind of where shit gets like really escalated. And also, I'm a little bit more inclined to spoil certain episodes because there's no story. This isn't really much of a spoiler. I'll give vague. I won't get into the jokes, but I'm just giving you a heads up before we continue onwards. Starting it off for me, I always thought that not Mac, Charlie was the main star of the show. I don't know why. I think it's his actor. I think out of all the 5 of just the main 4 young, Danny DeVito's like, a legend in Hollywood. I think out of all of them, it is him. I think he's played by Charlie Day. And with him, he's just like, wow. I honestly feel it. I thought he was the face of the show. Hell, I've seen the meme where he's looking at like the very complicated, board of like, connecting all the dots. I've seen that meme for so long, and then finally seeing the context of it, it was like, okay, I kind of understand why he's doing this. When I said before that, all these guys feel like, they still feel like kids, but they're just in adult bodies. Charlie is the perfect representation of that because he has had a very tough upbringing, so he kind of represses those thoughts into just, being kind of like a kid and like, doing stupid decisions that, yeah, it's fine if you do them when you're a kid because you're a kid, you're still learning, but he's 20 to 30s in the show, so it's like some of the things he does later on is just, I really do not know how this guy is still alive. I really don't know. Like, I would have easily kicked his ass by this point. I would have just gotten so mad with him. I'm like, get the hell out of here. I mean, the things he was able to luckily get was like, goddamn, this man is lucky. He really is. I feel like he could be a good asset to society. In terms of like, he has a certain kindness to him deep down, but he's just so corrupted by all the childness and just being around the others that, he kind of just gets shrouded in that. Where I do believe there's like a small core of him down within that like, he's a good person. But he's just buried throughout so much crap. He just is buried underneath there. That's just in my opinion, Dorf. Similar to Mac as well. But Mac is more like, for me, he's sane sounding. I'll say that. I feel like if you give him a good enough cause and a good enough explanation, I feel like you can turn him back to the good side. I think so. I think you have a little bit of the selfish side of there where like, he is a little bit of a pompous. No, that's Dennis. Never mind. He's just selfish in general. And I the one moment where I'm like, he's always like, there's a questionability about him later on in the season. But I think the creepiest moment I've ever seen of him, which is when he, I'm not even into it because like even that scene was like, I don't even want to imagine the context of that scene. I'm like, God damn, like why do you do this? So like, oh God, Dennis and Dee are brothers and sisters. Both kind of entitled. Grew up with the rich life now, kind of being self-independent. Let's say that they kind of have no real means to continue that lifestyle anymore because I think their mom cut them off and then their dad cut them off, so they're kind of living on their own, trying to live their dream. But again, it's so hard because they both feel so uptight. They still feel like the rich people, where they feel like they're entitled to certain things, that they're more, they deserve certain things to come their way. And especially Dennis, where for me, I feel like he's a pompous asshole. Like if you meet first impressions, like if you see him across the street, you feel like he's probably a normal dude. The moment you talk to him is when you realize he is a stubborn prick and he is never going to change. And he still has not by the time of this season's recording. It has not. Same with Dee, not too much to an extent. She kind of is at times the Meg of the show, where like considering the fact that she's the only woman on this main cast, she gets picked around by the other guys, and they kind of reference it every other week. We're like, yeah, I don't want to be the butt of your jokes this week, so I'm gonna go do something else, just to kind of not be the butt anymore. And even they find ways to like even still make her the butt of the jokes, and that's how I compare it to. At least she's a cooler version of Meg, where she is getting some action, she is doing some stuff, but that's about it. And the star of the show, Danny DeVito. It would surprise to tell you that as much as I would love Danny DeVito's comedy, I have not watched much with him. I've only watched him in Batman Returns as the Penguin. He was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but he wasn't really a star. He was merely an extra, which also was his first movie role, which is ironic. And then the other thing was, he was in, what was that movie? Jumanji, the Next Level. He played Spencer's grandpa. I said grandma, like oh god. Those are the only things I've seen him in, and I love this comedy style there. So it baffled me for a while, like why haven't I gotten into this show? And keep in mind, Danny DeVito is a master of comedy. He really is. Like, I just laugh a decent amount of the times when he's around on the screen, because you never really know what he's going to do next. You never really know. And the fact he's really comfortable in doing anything. Like, he did a visual pun in the show where he sewed himself into a couch for a joke. I kid you not. I would do many things for jokes. I would not sew myself into my couch just to get a scare out of someone. It is not worth it. And he did it. And he's done way worse things. And I think the episode that I finally got sold that Frank is a horrible person and a disgusting bird, like more or less disgusting. Like, when people get older, you kind of like, you kind of lose control of your body. You kind of like let yourself go a little bit. So you're a little bit more disgusting than normal. The episode where the entire thing was shot as Frank's POV, where you get to see the episode through his which honestly, as a general concept for an episode, it was really interesting. I honestly love some of those experimental episodes where they just do something different from the formulaic stuff and do something else. That was one of them. That by the time you reach the end of it, it's just like, I have a better understanding as Frank as a character, but I also never want to see the style again, because the first 5 minutes wasn't cringe, but it made me want to turn away. Where you got to see how he wakes up in the morning, and keep in mind he has no job. Well, he has a job, but it's not really a job. He has a job. You get to see the day to day of his life. Just seeing him just wake up in a very unkempt apartment, peeing in cans. It's like the pee alone was like, I feel so bad. And then actually, he didn't even wash his hands after peeing. It's like, why? That's the number one thing you do. Like, okay, you want to brush your teeth? Fine, get cavities. You don't want to keep yourself clean? That's fine. At least wash your hands after you pee. It's like that number one. It's like one of the unspoken rules. Like, you just know, like, okay, I touched my dick, or I released out of my bowels. I should wash my hands, just in case. I should. Well, not just in case. I should wash my hands. And I was just like, oh my god, like, they were just really doing that on purpose just to get a rise out of me. Not me specifically, but just in general with like any of the clean freaks that somehow watch this damn show. Like, just in general, like, I don't even think their bar's ever been professionally cleaned ever. I feel like they just use the cheap 99 cents cleaning supplies, and they call it a day. Which also surprised, like, you run a bar, and I know the excuse is that, oh, Frank just pays for the bar. Regardless of how much money we make, he's still going to pay us out. He's going to bail us out at the end of the day. I get that, but, like, the fact is that they just have random people coming in and out, and I don't even think they charge them. Like, how does their system work? Like, they're about to go on a scheme. There's, like, 4 people at the bar. I'm like, yeah, you guys just pay when you're done. We'll be back when we can. It just, for me, is like, how? Like, you cannot legitimately stay in business like that. You can't. There's absolutely no way. Eventually, by a certain point, there's just a limit. There really is. And speaking of limits, I'm surprised no one's just tried to kill them in the series. So far, no one has tried to kill them. Which I'm like, how? Like, really, how? Like, just mention a few of their instances, let's call it. They basically destroyed a priest's upbringing. They destroyed a marriage. They got someone's eye removed. One of them went back with their ex just because they got hotter, but they didn't realize about their personality, which I know, like, okay, that's subjective, like, depending on the person. I'm like, really, that was just really bad. They tricked one of their friends to become fat just for a joke, which honestly, that really is not a joke at all. I'm like, I don't care about that part. Well, I don't care about what they did. And the fact that they borderline, like, I think the biggest thing that I'm like, you're really broaching the line here. Well, in terms of like just in the cultural, person to person aspect of it, is when there's this character just called the Waitress. We don't even know her name. Like, to this day, we don't even know her real name. They just call her the Waitress because they don't really want to know her name. But Charlie likes her, but it's kind of one of those unrequited love things where, like, he doesn't really try to make her know that he really likes her. He just tells her, "I like you. I want to go on a date." Like she let everyone bang her before him, and I'm just like, damn. Like, how does it feel like when the woman you claim to love just has sex with every one of your guy friends and doesn't even bother with you? Like, it really makes no damn sense. It really doesn't, and I get so bothered by. I'm just so, because it's deja vu when I was a kid a little bit, not to the same extreme, but like kind of similarly. And then you have these moments where like, my God, I don't even know how. I don't even know how this guy got even laid. He got Alexandra DePoplio. She played I don't remember. She played the female protagonist in Percy Jackson, the original movies. And then she was in that True Detective scene where, like, yeah, everyone knows about that True Detective scene. But how do you get that? Like, how? And then on top of that, she got an escort for free. The phrase "good things don't happen to bad people" is completely false, because for some reason these guys just get handout. They just get lucky whenever they help. And don't get me wrong, they do have bad stuff happen to them all the time, like, you know, but it's just not enough for them to like really be impacted by, I should stop and look back and try to change my life. There's maybe one episode where they actually do try to change their ways in terms of like trying to break the monopoly of things and maybe doing something else. They epically fail. They don't even bother trying to continue it, and they just go back to normal because, like, it's the easiest thing to do. Which I do understand. Yeah, it is easier to do, but, like, you know, they didn't even try to start their new lives, and it's just why? It's just, you know, how do you constantly keep going? Like, you keep pushing the envelope. Like, there's just so many things where, like, borderline today, even like 5 years ago, like, there's absolutely no way this would air on television without an outroar. And there were outroar. It's on the same level with South Park, but like the writers, who are also the actors and who are also the creators, they don't give fucks. They really don't. They're on FXX. So like there's like certain tiers of it. You have the big four. You got the ABC, you got the CBS, NBC, Fox. Then you have like the kind of like the secondary tiers where you have like the CW, HBO Max, where like they can have premium stuff too. They can have like big name shows as well, but you gotta pay extra for them. They're not really like part of the big set. Then you have FX, which is kind of like those like specialty channels. Then you have FXX, which is like bottom of the barrel, not a bad way with ratings, but like they're just like throw it on there. We have no real control over that. I'm pretty sure they can upload porn. Okay, I'm not gonna say porn, but like they can basically do whatever the hell they want on those things, and no one would care. That's where the show lives. And also the other thing is that, and I always question myself, why is this show still going? Like, let's just say the reception wasn't a problem. There's absolutely no way there's an audience for this to sustain this many episodes. And George said it best. It's cheap. It's a cheap show. I'm pretty sure the biggest thing that they're paying out is the actor salaries. That's basically it. Everything else, it's literally the same sets. You rent out a few locations in Philly or wherever they shoot the show, and that's it. That's how you get your show done. And they do it on a really tight budget, which I'm like, and I was actually baffled by the fact that the show came out in 2005. I've watched shows from that era already during first shows for reviews for What's in the Tube, as well as just on my own personal watching. The camera quality they use, and I'm actually baffled, like the fact I'm mentioning camera quality in a review. Damn you, George. Is that even by 05 standards, 05, 06, around the time the show came out, and you just see the quality, it just looks like a 90s home video film when these guys should have digital cameras. And I heard, like, yeah, the only reason why this show is made on the cheap, where they literally use the least powerful equipment. Like, they literally turned to HD well into the 2010s, and I'm just like, by that point we already transitioned, so it's like it's gone so, like, they get the bare bones just to keep it affordable, which I do get it. Like, at the end of the day, I don't really care about the presentation. Like, I could watch a very horribly color-coded episode of television, but if the story and the characters are still entertaining, I'll watch it. You know, it's not going to deter me that much. But in this case, it's the same thing where, like, yeah, the camera quality is like, you know, say what you want about it, you know, it's very iffy, very outdated, but they at least present it in the content. So the thing I keep broaching around is that, do I actually like the show? Because I've already basically described a lot of the horrible things they've done about these. Oh God, I don't even want to mention anymore. For me, it's an iffy one. If you like Seinfeld, this might be up your alley. It's going to be more intensified. It's going to be definitely more directly focused. It's definitely going to like not give damns about what lines they're crossing. It's like South Park maybe jumps the line a little bit. These guys leap over the line. It's just crazy. It really is. And I'm just questioning what the hell are they going to do next? What is the next craziest thing that I'm waiting for the episode where like the internet is like, we are done with this show. You've crossed the line. There is no return. I'm just waiting for that moment. It's going to come. They may not know it because the thing is with television, with TV and movies, like you really don't know what the reception is going to be for the fans and the vast online fan base until it comes out. You really don't know. I remember, as an example, when Game of Thrones came out for season, keep in mind, I never watched the episodes live. I binged them after the fact. But I remember when the season 7 premiere came out, and I think a very well-known musician called Ed Sheeran, I believe, made a big guest star in that episode. And I was so confused because like he got a lot of hate online. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, if I got asked to go on How I Met Your Father, then, like, yeah, I would be excited. Like, I wouldn't get praise for my role. I'd probably just get, like, a fucking background role, but I wouldn't care about it. But, like, I'm pretty sure he was a big fan of the show, and they just invited him on, and a lot of people hated it. Like, again, I didn't really care much about Game of Thrones, so I could be wrong in the context of it, and it's been a while since I watched the show, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I literally I got so confused, because, like, what's with the hate? It's just an actor popping up on television. I was going to say a spoiler for The Boys in season 3, so I'll keep my mouth shut. But like, there's a thing in the premiere season 3, but no one ever talked about it, and it was just mildly received. Oh, that's a cool thing. You just never really know. You never really can gauge the audience perspective. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm waiting for the day where they premiere an episode. It's like, this is crossing the line. It's too far. It's too much. We're done. We're moving. We're done with the show. We're canceling everything. I'm just waiting for that day. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. Like, I know they're conscious of it, but one day they're just gonna cross the line of no return. Similar to how, like, again, this is my last reference, and I'm gonna wrap it up. When South Park did their Disney episode, not that, the China episode, and it was just, oh my god, the reception in China was hilarious because like the government completely hated that crap. They shut it down. Most of the citizens didn't even give a damn. They still found ways to watch South Park for free or bootleg it. It was just so hilarious how, like, you know, that was the episode. Like, they just said, fuck it. We know what we're doing. We absolutely know what we're trying to say. And it was just so close. Like, it was like this fraction of a line between what they did. And the blowback was amazing. And it was really entertaining to see. So, like, that's kind of how I want. Well, I say that like I want the show to end. I don't want the show to end. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure everyone's having a good time. It's like 5-10 weeks of having fun, you know, with your friends, with your crew, making some very debatably hours of television. I'll say that much. But for me, it is what it is. Always Sunny in Philadelphia, for me, at the end of the day, it is a show. It is a sitcom. You might laugh. You might get disgusted. You might question what you freaking watch. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's one of those shows where, like, you just have to go and watch it and get your own like feel of it. It's one of those shows where I think right now the only reason I told George about it was I'm just very baffled that these people are still alive. I'm very baffled by that fact, and I'm just scared what they're gonna do next. I'm really scared. They still have 3 more seasons renewed. I don't even want to know what ideas they're going through their head right now, but we'll find out soon. We'll find out soon when more seasons come out. So for me, I would say form your own opinion and give it a watch. I'll say it as that. It's not a positive thing, but it's not a negative thing. So let it be there. So yeah, so that was it. So let me know in the comments below, what did you think of Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Let's talk about it down below. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX. Talking about Always Sunny in Philadelphia. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two besides these random quick impressions, we're currently doing Tom Swift episode reviews each and every week after brand news is on the CW here on ActionX. But again, we always do quick impressions whenever the heck I finish a show or I feel like I want to talk about something. So we got a lot of quick impressions coming up because it's summertime, so a lot of the shows that we're about to do don't come back to the fall. So expect some random things to pop about, like this one. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode reviews live. Please also follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates you may have for the channel, that we may have for you about the channel. I said that incorrectly. As well as subscribe. As always, ring the bell, like, favorite, share, all the usual sorts. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching this quick impressions. But until the next time, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out. And I can't wait to never see this show again.